Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of our Satisfactory Longplay. Hopefully you all have been enjoying the series so far. Let's take a look at the factory as it is now. So we made so much progress from last time. We were able to build our factory out fully, including a few different setups for all kinds of different things. And I hope you all enjoyed the journey so far. Unfortunately though, this is the nature of the game. We are going to have to refactor and practically change everything we've done so far. Or at least that is the plan. So there is way more ways that we can optimize this or make things just work a little bit better, a little bit more in our favor, not have these wonky setups or just things that kind of don't really work super well. Like I said in the last episode, there's just so many things that I wish I knew when I first started playing, but now that I do know them, I feel like I have to go back and make things just a little bit better or in ways that I wish I did from the start. It's going to take quite a bit of work, but since we have the new formatting, we're going to be able to fit so much progress into this episode that hopefully we get a lot of additional progress on top of the factory refactoring. I'm really hoping we can get some advanced factories going, maybe even some steel production and coal production going. So I'm looking forward to all of this, and hopefully you are too. So thanks for sticking around, and if you like the series, you know what to do. Alrighty, welcome back to another episode. Really excited to get into what we have planned for today. Like I mentioned at the top of the episode, I am planning on refactoring pretty much this entire place. So we have a ton of stuff ahead of us, but we'll take it one step at a time. So one, everyone doesn't get lost, and two, we do it the right way. So we're going to start off by refactoring the main two components of our base, being the ironworks and the electricity. So those two things I think need a complete overhaul if we're going to continue our work. And that's something we really want to do. So all of our ironwork is right there, and all of our electricity is right here. So luckily they're pretty close to each other. And overall, this might sound crazy, but I kind of want to move our electricity off kind of, how do we say? Off premise, I guess, would be the best way to say. So we're going to try and segment it so that we don't have so many of these random power lines and supplies kind of running throughout our operations. So with that being said, I guess let's just jump into it. We did have a little bit of stuff from last time in that we have a few things ready to go for the MAM. So this is the research area for anyone that isn't familiar. And I realized that we can actually already jump into a bit of research, being the first one is this one, +6 inventory slots. So we can get that researched and it just straight up gives us an upgrade. I do want to get an extra hand slot, but that's not going to happen for a while.
I worked all afternoon analyzing the transdimensional confibulatory permutations of alien DNA to achieve this. We are all doing our part for Fix-It.
We are all doing our part for Fix-It. I do need to get some alien DNA capsules, but it kind of, let me see what it requires. I think it does require us getting more parts from enemies. Oh, we can actually make 5 of these right now. What am I doing? Let's just make 5 real quick. I never even looked into this. I didn't realize it was so easy to make. That should be enough for us to get another upgrade for the megafauna. Yeah, perfect. Structural analysis. Boom.
Research to develop the rebar gun is now available. When completed, you will be in possession of a tool effective against any local obstacles actively objecting to the Fix-It mission.
Actively objecting to the Fix-It mission. Alright, you're not wrong, so let's get this rebar gun done with. There we go, we got a new gun. Perfect.
Rebar gun and iron rebar ammo unlocked. Your ingenuity towards preservation of Fix-It property has been noted. You earned a micro break. And welcome back. I hope you feel refreshed.
And welcome back indeed. Okay, so we got all this, and if you saw at the top of the last episode, we did find one of these summer sloops, so we can add this to our research as well.
Summer sloop analysis completed. Summer sloops are somewhere between battery and conduit, harvesting energy from pockets of space with complete disregard for the rules of the space-time continuum, and distributing it into its connected ecosystem. This energy,
let the effigies harvest until the waves reach our shores. Consume.
Similarities to the hypothetical force of dark energy to potentially be one and the same. It can now be tracked by the object scanner.
Okay, that was totally not weird. Every time we have some interesting interactions with alien stuff. Also, we have been AFK for a little bit, so we've gotten quite a few of these reinforced platings and also some of these rotors. Yeah, we've been AFK for a little bit. Like, while we're editing the video and stuff like that, we kind of have just, you know, let things run their course, and it seems like we've let them run their course for quite a while because we are stocked up on so many things right now. That being said, we do need some screws, so we're still running a little low on screws because the next thing I want to upgrade is these power slugs. So I do want to get this done. Being able to scan power slugs might be nice because then that means we can search them out. Bam, and just like that, with the passage of time and editing, we are done. We can go over here and research power slug scanning. That'll be nice, because we can really utilize these power slugs now.
Power slugs extract latent energy from their surroundings to sustain themselves. By tuning the object scanner to the particular potential energy signature, it is now able to locate them against the background environmental static.
Alright, that's good to know.
Research completed. Yellow power slugs are further into their life cycle than blue power slugs, and thus have more potential energy stored. They can now be processed into power shards.
Oh, that's actually really interesting. I wonder what the reward is from that. Do we make 2 of them? Okay, so 1 yellow slug equals 2 blue slugs. Good to know.
Blade runners unlocked. Equipped to run faster, jump with greater force, and decrease fall damage that might otherwise have lowered your value to fix it.
Okay, so we also got the Blade Runners, which is really cool, and we have a few other things that we could unlock, but we're going to save them for another time. I like to save up and get these things unlocked when we're all here together. And also, I think it's kind of a nice start to the episode. Just starting off with quite a bit of extra progress, as I like to say. So we have a ton of inventory space now. As you can see, we're just really stacked up. And on top of that, we now have access to potentially being able to make, let's see here. There we go. We can make the Blade Runners now, and we can make the rebar gun. I think we should make the rebar gun, actually. This will be cool to have. It'll be, I think, a straight up upgrade over the current zapper we have. We can make some rebar bullets, I guess. We'll make a few of these just so that we can have them for whenever we use the gun. I really don't think we'll be using it too much right away, but it could give us access to a few new mobs, which might even be some more research for us. So I'll make sure to get around 100. We have plenty of bars to go around. Alright, so now with the research out of the way, we can jump into today's big change. With that, I mean we are going to be starting off by changing up our factory. Actually, I think it might be best if we get our energy situated and in order first, as that is going to be a really big change and something that we want to get right the first time before we start adding a bunch of machines. So like I said, we want to take our energy off premise. First off though, we need to of course get our biofuel set up. Eventually the biofuel is going to be replaced with coal and water. So with that being said, we need to place it with water in mind, and the closest source is right here. So because of that, we are going to place it over there in that field. Might seem kind of random, but I think that's the best area. It's fairly wide and open, no enemies, and it might be the best as far as what we have available to us right now. So we are going to start over there by building a bit of foundation. Okay, so to start off with, we are going to be going and making a lookout tower right here. And this is going to be the premise of where we start our operation. So I already started off with a 4 wide area, and we're just going to build on this with additional foundation. I think we're going to start with a 4 by foundation just so that we're high off the ground. I don't want to have to redo this anytime soon. So to quickly break down my idea, we're going to, for the first time ever, utilize second stories. And because of that, we are going to have to go through quite a few trials and tribulations if we want this to be successful. The reason I wanted to do that is because I want everything to be on the same floor. So all of the actual biomass burners I want on the same floor. And then above that is where I want the biofuel to actually be made. So because of that, let's try and set up the bottom floor first, and then we'll set up the second floor after. Or actually, let's do that the other way around, and I'm sure hopefully it'll be fine. It'll totally be fine. So I figured now with these walls set up, I could probably set a foundation and it not be that big a deal as far as height is concerned. I think this might be okay. So my idea is to up here put all of our constructors for the biofuel. So in order to do that, we're going to have the same setup that we have over there, where it's essentially leaves and wood going into the 2 constructors. So in order to do that, let's get this set up. Okay, so in order to start this out, we have the bottom foundation set up and some of the top foundation set up. If something is messed up or changes throughout the process, don't worry, that's not having a plan is kind of part of the plan. Okay, so I currently have a few things already set up. If the video might be skipping around a little bit as far as progress goes, I'm trying not to, but really a lot of this is done by the seat of my pants and I'm kind of just figuring it out as we go. And I don't want big spaces of me kind of just looking around and trying to figure things out in the video, mostly because I feel like it's a little boring and a lot of, just dead talking time of me talking to myself and figuring things out. Let me know if you actually want that in the videos. I don't mind putting it in. I just personally think it's a little boring, but let me know if you're not in the same line of thinking. So as far as this goes, I want to be able to, from the bottom floor, deposit my leaves and my wood. So because of that, I am setting up these deposits on the bottom floor with a bit of foundation. So in order to do this, I purchased these additional conveyor lift floor holes. I actually got these from the special thing here, the Awesome Shop, and they seem pretty great considering that it only costs 1 ticket. I think we got like 25 from the Christmas event. Along with that, we are using our first ever conveyor lift Mark 1. This is going to feed directly into this top storage unit. And what's nice about this is we can actually go down here and have our conveyors go directly through the floor, down here to the bottom floor, and now we can have them connect to the storage. This is actually really, really cool. So the reason that this is really cool is because it connects directly, I think. Oh, there we go. So now it connects. Perfect. So that means that whenever we put stuff in here, it should directly go into it, into the second floor. Perfect. So one is going to be for leaves, like I mentioned, and the other one is going to be for wood. Obviously, these will eventually go away whenever we decide to go with the coal operation, which the water is nearby, and we'll have to change things up, but for the time being, we have plenty of biomass to go around, and that's what we're going to be using for this. So let's go back up here to our new lookout tower for this operation. And from here, we essentially just have a little bit of a transport system. Now this does work so far, or at least I hope so. We can actually test it out real quick. Here we go. So we can test it out by putting these tickets in here, and they should get sent through. Yep, there we go. It's getting sent up. Now in order to go up a floor, I do need to fly down from here, which is kind of funny. Even though we can make second floor things, it's still kind of tough navigating them. And then we can check, and here they are. So we do know it works. Now that we are up here, we can actually get our constructors working. So we do want to get 2 constructors per thing, just so that we're not running low. It does seem like our constructors can work quite a bit faster than our production setup has currently. So I want to make sure that I have 2 of them running at all times. Okay, so it took me a second. I was able to figure it out, but there was a needing to reverse the way the conveyor belts were running. So everything is set up now, and I think we're good to go. So now all of our stuff, all of our biomass is going to go from the top down to the side here. And I am going to remove a couple of these just so I can access the bottom part, because I don't have any door walls currently unlocked. We're going to do the same thing with this side though. Now that I know how to work it, it should be a lot easier. But I do need to set up the extra wall for the conveyor belt. Once you have these set up, they make it really easy. You just select it, and if you need to reverse it, then you can just quick switch the build, but it's set up perfectly now. So we can just do this. Set the conveyor belt to go right into it, and there we go. Perfect. So now we can have both of these go into their own separate organizers here. So storage. All right, so we have 4 of them lined up on this side, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Like I said, this is going to be a lot of power. And here we are with everything set up. We have 8 biomass burners ready to install with conveyor belts. And here we are. This is the finished project. Didn't take us too long, but it did take a little bit of time to get this set up. There we go. Let's check it out from up top. This thing looks ridiculous. Man, this is going to be quite a bit of a power upgrade. Look at that. So to quickly overview it one final time, hopefully, we're going to store our leaves and our wood. They're going to go up into another storage, split off into 2 constructors that'll turn it into biomass. And then 2 constructors in the back are going to turn that biomass into solid biofuel. They're going to get conveyed downstairs into another storage container where the solid biofuel will then get split off and distributed into 8 different fuel burners so that we can get 8 additional things of power. That is going to be pretty awesome. So hopefully everything works the way I'd hoped, because this took a little bit more time than I'd like to admit. But I think it looks really good. It looks pretty clean. It's going to be double the power that we have in this area right now. And it takes up not nearly as much space as you'd imagine. It's definitely over-engineered and could be made smaller, but I like the aesthetic of it. So let me know what you think of it, and let's get it loaded up. I'm going to go grab some solid fuel and we'll get this baby started. All right, so everything is finally set up. We even queued everything up for the actual tethers for the power lines. One final thing that we need to make sure, because I always forget, is we actually unlocked these signs. Now I wanted to get these signs ready and made so that whenever we put them up, I don't forget what we're actually doing. and where things are supposed to go. So because of that, I want to make sure that I have these set up properly. There we go. Maybe we'll do none, actually. Perfect. Okay, that took a second, but we got it. Now we'll do these same settings here. Didn't seem to actually work. Let's see. Let's copy settings. Paste them over here. Perfect. But this time we're actually going to change it to wood. Alright, so this way we don't get confused with what we're putting where. So now we have this one set up. Looks good to me. Perfect. So we have wood, we have leaves. Now we know what to do. Now hopefully we got everything set up and correct. Let's throw the wood in here. I even managed to cut down some trees just so that we have some way to experiment with this. 200 wood, it's getting taken. Wood is going upstairs. Let's see if everything is going to be working copacetic. We'll throw the leaves in here, and just to make sure we have power, because I know we're not going to have power for this process to even start up, I'm going to put some extra biofuel I brought over in here. Just so that we can get a little jump start on the fuel that we're going to be burning. Perfect. So these should go equally into here and here. And then here and here. And it should keep going down the line. Slowly turning all these switches green. As these switches turn green, those ones up top should also be switching to green in a second. Okay. So it seems like we got some of it working. Some of it, not so much. But it's okay, at least we got a little bit of progress. Let's go see what's going on here. So we have all of these working so far. These machines are working, but these other ones back here are not. So it's because, okay, I can definitely see the problem. So this is not connected to anything. That'll definitely do it. So we are going to need to hook this to that. Get rid of this power line. This to that, and finally this one to that. That will give us power. Whenever we give the machines power, that will generally power it up. Okay. Yeah, this seems to be working okay. Biomass in there. Let's see, biomass from there. Biomass. Solid fuel. Solid fuel. It's going downstairs. Okay. Great, this is perfect. And what's nice about this is we have a capacity of 240. Massive amount of energy being channeled through here. Alright. So now that we have all of that set up, what are we going to do with all the power? That was just one part of our refactor. We still have so much more to work on. So first things first, the issue that we have with our iron setup is that it is just way too inefficient. As you can see, none of these lines are actually really moving. So let's fix that. We're going to set up a dual smelter on both, or all three of these lines rather. In order to do that, we need to start getting rid of these things. Alright, so you might be wondering why we just suddenly appeared here. So we did all the research, got a few things going, and then I maybe said something along the lines of, let's go and rebuild some stuff. Well, I've just spent the last many hours doing that, and I kind of feel like it was a huge waste of time. So we did all that research, and it was great. We have the rebar gun, and we haven't made any of the boots or anything like that, but I'm glad we did the research. That part was cool. The part where we wasted time was with all of this. I did end up unlocking coal power, which took just a few of these reinforced plates, rotors, and cables, which isn't too bad. So let's go and actually explore. check out the world and see what coal has to offer. So far, we're getting pretty close on our power consumption. If we look here, we have a max of 235, with our capacity is at 240. So while we do have a bit of overhead, we don't have a ton. And I would like to have to not cut down tons of trees to make this all sustainable. We need coal and water, but I haven't explored either of these ones. And they are on the edge of where we are actually currently, so let's do this. Let's go to the one that is closest by, and hopefully it's not too much of a headache. I think ideally in the future I am going to have it so that everything I end up doing is more or less in its own space. Like, it'll be a separate thing of concrete, a separate thing of copper, and kind of just have it all sent to the same area. On our way there, since we have this new rebar gun that we ended up researching and buying, or making rather, I want to use it on these guys here, which tend to poison us, and see if we can actually defeat them. It definitely doesn't seem like they're getting hurt by anything we're doing. If anything, it just seems like they're spitting out more acid than they were before. Yeah, so we still need to figure out a way to deal with that, and a way to deal with that poisonous gas over there. That would make our base so much more hospitable if we didn't have to worry about that all the time. Oh, it's actually right here. Not too bad. This is really close. Look, we got a little fire spitter here. I don't think I showed off taking down one of these last time. But these guys actually shoot balls of fire. I'll give them a chance to shoot at me just so you can see what it looks like. And that was a little too generous of me. Okay, cool. So I think this is the coal here. Yep, sure is. All right. So now that we have this coal, we can set up a miner real quick. There we go. Set up the miner. Have it go here. Funny enough, I think I might send it across this giant cavern. That would be hilarious, honestly. Let's see how feasible this actually is. Yep, that'll actually work. Let's send it a little higher up. Alright, we made a bridge. Perfect. Okay, so we did waste, I think that's what we'll do. We did end up wasting a little bit of foundation, but that's fine. We have plenty of materials for that other places. So we are gonna go and send this quite a ways away. Let's try to set this up now. Alright, so we ended up building our conveyor belt all the way out to here. And I think this will be a good middle ground between the 2 points, being the water and the coal. I don't think I want both of them to stretch a super far length, so I'm just trying to meet in the middle. Now we can connect the power cables, and hopefully this will be a usable strategy. Definitely don't know about optimal. There we go. Looks like we're at exact capacity of 240, although we've never even gotten close to 200, so we should be plenty good to go. So on top of this, we need to get our water going, which is right over here. In order to get our water going, we need to build a water pump, which is right here. And it is going to have a little bit of an outlet right there. Perfect, our first ever water pump.
That may indeed be water. Try submerging your arm. If it does not dissolve, that will narrow down the range of possibilities. Or you could just pipe it to a coal-powered generator and see what happens.
Yeah, so luckily we didn't melt, so we are good to go. We do have a pipeline pump that we need to put on, I think. So let's put the... Actually, maybe not. So maybe we just do the pipe? Alright. Do the pipe here.
Fix-it pipelines can contain any fluid, including the water necessary for coal-powered generators. Note: water does not flow upwards by itself. While water extractors provide some lift, to truly defy gravity, consider the use of pipeline pumps.
Okay, so it seems like these just simply attach to the water pipeline, and that's what we'll need the power for. Okay. Perfect, so we can set up both. Alright. Now besides that, we can get the rest of the pipeline going. Ah, come on, big guy. I know I'm in your house, but can you, thank you. At least you could hear us. So, let's try this again. We have our power coal generator. Set it up right here. Bam.
Interesting, most pioneers already had coal power set up by this point, because they understood their responsibility to humanity. Adjusting pioneer attitude metrics. Reminder: coal-powered generators require coal.
Nice. So now that she's reminded us that coal power needs coal, I can appropriately route the coal. Unfortunately, it did route in a weird kind of way, so you have to take that into account. So the coal goes in there, and the water pipe, weirdly enough, does need to go up and over. Alright, the flow rate is maximum, so we're good to go. Yep, perfect. We're perfectly fine. This does need power in and of itself, of course. Never easy on this planet. So there we go. It's going. Let's see. So it's burning 1 coal every 15 minutes, and that is gonna generate us an additional 70 maximum capacity. 75. That is humongous. Okay. Maybe we'll set up another coal generator, because that is a lot. Cool, so we've made so much progress getting these constructed, and honestly, based on the rate at which things are going, it doesn't seem like they're consuming a lot of either of these. So we can take a look. It's been a little bit, about 10 minutes, and we can see that honestly the production hasn't gone down even a little bit. So we can probably create even a couple more of these coal generator mine things. What are they called again? Coal powered generators. Let's make a few more of them, and honestly, I think this is potentially going to be the main way that we continue getting energy. Alright, so now that we have this bit of a maze set up with all of these pipes, it does seem like we have kind of found the limit. So it seems like there's not enough water pressure going on, and we need to potentially get another water pipe hooked up. So as you can see, our flow rate super low, and our head lift is honestly not that high. So after a little while, I was able to unfortunately kind of get this working, but as you can see, the generators kind of get knocked offline from time to time. They come back and they turn green, but eventually they will turn back to red, which is not what we want. So I am actually going to go through and I am going to actually detach all of the connections so far. I'm going to try to do it the correct way, kind of. So I am going to go through here and disconnect all of the coal first to try to get that ready. And then I will reconnect all of the conveyor belts first. Hopefully this goes well. I honestly don't have too much confidence, but I'll try to run everything centrally and see if that helps. I'm also going to disconnect all the water as well. And this is where I had the really big problems, so I need to go back to the drawing board and rethink this so that hopefully this can be a stable source of water. So in order to make this more of a smooth operation, I do think we're going to need some fluid buffers. Probably one, maybe even two, but in order to get that, we actually need some modular framing. Luckily, we have been crafting modular framing back at our base, so we can go ahead and do that real quick. So if we go up here and make these reservoirs, hopefully that'll help with fluctuations. It does seem like there are quite a few fluctuations with the fluids. So I'm hoping that this is going to kind of quell that and make it so it's a lot easier to have a stable source of energy. Kind of knew that this was going to be a little too good to be true. It seemed like it was going to be way too easy, but hopefully this honestly makes it significantly better. So maybe we did figure out the water situation. So we were getting no water through this pipe, and it seemed like a lot of it was just sitting in the water extractor right there. So I put on an additional water pump, pipeline pump Mark 1, and it seems to have gotten the water moving. Which is really good news because there was nothing flowing through this pipe just a minute ago. Now hopefully this should, it already turned that stuff back to green, which is really, really nice. I can already see the pipes more active. And hey, we're already starting to fill up this water reservoir. This is really good news. So that seemed to have helped a ton. This reservoir is already filling up quite a bit. Nice. Okay, so we're getting a much steadier rate of electricity, which means we should have plenty on the grid now. 540 on the grid. That is huge. So maybe we should get another set of these reservoirs, these fluid buffers, and have them sit closer to this source up here. I don't know if it would help so much, but it could help. It's kind of a learning process going for this water setup. I definitely thought it'd be way more straightforward. It's interesting that there's a bit of gravity involved, fluid buffering for unequal amounts of, or irregular amounts of water flow. Didn't think it would be that deep, but considering this game is this game, it kind of makes more sense. Either way, I think we can call that a success. As far as I can tell, these operations are stable now. Alright, so we were able to collect everything we needed for this next milestone. This is going to get us quite a bit of progress, which is always super nice. We actually didn't get enough of this wire, so let's get a couple more. And this is going to be nice to have an extra hand slot. Honestly, it's going to be a pretty good quality of life increase. So let's launch off and get a security asset.
Milestone reached. The Xeno Basher is a direct upgrade from the Xeno Zapper. In the words of the engineer that first developed this tool, quote, "The Zapper kind of electrocutes things, the Basher straight up smacks stuff, while also electrocuting them," unquote. It is beneficial during encounters with aggressive fauna and has been tested thoroughly. The engineer's noble sacrifice for Xeno research will not be forgotten, whoever they were.
Okay, so while this is pretty cool looking, I'm actually not gonna get it and equip it. Mostly just because we already have the rebar gun, and with iron rebar, we actually do a pretty solid amount of damage, and it's ranged. I've been staring at this production line for a little while. Every time I look at it from any angle, here or over there, honestly, it kind of bums me out. I kind of wish it just had never been done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start over. All right, good morning. It is another day, and I think the sleep is what I needed. So let's be upfront and honest. We have had this factory refactor go on for way too long. Hopefully today we get it knocked out. I've come back and left to do other projects so many times because I just kind of get stuck. I guess this is probably similar to how it is for like anyone else that maybe is writing a book and you get writer's block or something like that. There's just a wall in front of my creativity and what I think I should do with our building process. So I think I'm just going to continue and try to push past it. I do have a couple ideas that I'm going to try to work with, and hopefully this is going to end up with me not overthinking it so much, spending less time on this, and hopefully we're able to get it knocked out. Overall, I think segmentation might be the answer that we're looking for, so we can try that out. This is where we ended up getting to yesterday. We have a bit of a situation here with this big guy, but we have our energy over there. And then here we have all three of these being fed into storage containers. Then they're getting merged and split again into three separate smithers. I think I may have a third set of three smithers go right here and then send up top. All three of these are then getting merged out the back for all of their ingots and then sent up, and that's where we are at currently. Currently they're going up into a new storage container just because I think I kind of want all of the processes put into their own area and kind of segmented like I was mentioning. That way, I think it would be better to have several small factories dedicated to whatever they're doing. And then we can have another factory over here just for concrete, another factory over there just for copper. And then if we want, we can set up another factory for whatever else we're doing. I think maybe that is going to be the way to go. It makes things seem a little bit more modular. We can change things around as new things come up. That's kind of my thought process. It seems like the just ever expanding factory that we had before might have just been a little overwhelming for me. So we're going to hopefully go with this and hopefully this works out. I think we are going to start out by having the third set of smelters come through, and we can have them go right here. So let's start off by doing that. This is going to be just our iron factory. If we ever want to, separate off into what we're going to do next, which is going to be steel, then we can set up a steel factory right over there or right over there, and then have it feed into that factory for the steel. The iron going into there for the steel. Because we're going to have to combine iron and coal, which we have a bit of factory over there for coal. We can combine that for steel a little bit later. For now, we are going to split these so that we can use several different smelters. Build 5 kilometers of conveyor belts. We just got that achievement. Alright, so we have 3 containers getting filled up with iron. This one already got 20 getting sent into it. This one should be, it's getting quite a bit. Alright, perfect. Okay, so I think this was pretty successful. We have 3 full-on orgers or smelter systems set up, and they're actually making a ton of product. So now that we have that set up, I think this production area is done. If we want to do this foundry assembly, I think we're going to do that in a new building just for steel. So because of that, I think we are going to stockpile iron because of the way that we are planning on doing these processes. I think I'm just going to have a ton of storage containers up here full of steel. I think that's full of iron. Not just for steel, but for really any process that we come across. I think I have some PTSD ever since going through this factory refactor for the second time. If we're being honest, I don't even know if we're going to include it in this video because it has taken so long. but this is like the third or fourth time. I think I've spent over 10 hours at this point refactoring this factory. I've had full-on build-outs that I didn't like and just went back to zero. I've started with giant floor layouts that I just immediately delete because it looks so crazy and overdone. This is by far the most logical and tamed one we have so far. But unlike the other ones, I'm actually really liking the end result of this one. It's clean, it makes sense, and everything is fairly manageable. It's just 3 smelters that have been split off into 3 times. Pretty easy to follow, and we're using all of the really good materials, so I won't have to come back here later. And now we can set up walls, which is going to be nice because it'll make it feel more like an actual factory. We don't need to fully close everything off, but I do want us to have a bit of structure here just so it seems more complete. So we'll take one final tour. We have the 3 iron deposits going into 3 of these containers. These containers are full up with all kinds of deposits. They get merged into one just in case, I don't know, one of them goes down for whatever reason. That's just obviously a hypothetical that'll never happen. And then we merge all them together just in case that happens. Split them again. Split them into 3, which is going 1, 2, 3, of course. And we split them 3 times going into 3 smelters. I think this is honestly dumbing down production. As you can see, we're kind of just doing one at a time. The only reason honestly, it's definitely hypothetical. The only reason I do like that we do a merger and then a splitter is just in case one of these goes down, then it will still merge and split the rest of them. Because, yeah, that's definitely hypothetical, but, you know, whatever. That's that, though. I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. So, we're going to keep that. And we're going to do basic walls around the top just so it looks a little bit better and just in case I fall off the roof or something. Okay, so for our concrete, I set up a bit of a foundation. I'm not going to connect it to our ironworks, but I did want it to be squared with the ironworks, so I started off with that. Repositioned and moved around our smelter, or our initial miner. Luckily, this doesn't need any smelting, but I did want to do something slightly interesting with our storage container. So our storage container currently is just set up to 1 storage container. I want to make sure that we have 2 storage containers in case we do ramp up production or just have an increase in need or something like that. So because of that, I want to have 2 of these containers for storage just in case. And this is definitely, just like the iron, as you can imagine, as over-engineered as you can get. So we are going to have this as well. Funny enough, I was having this feed into the bottom one, but there was a bit of a error just because this is so close. The conveyor belt was actually kind of getting caught on the the struts of the structure. So because of that, I'm gonna have a feed to the top one and then ramp down into this bottom one here, and then I will use this to feed into a multi-constructor setup. Alright, so now it's all set up. We have concrete going from the bottom floor through 3 constructors into 3 of these storage containers. So those are going to fill up in no time, I'm sure, and then we can ship them off if we ever need to. We can finish this off the same way that we did our ironworks. Finishing off with a little lip here just so we don't fall off the roof. Alright, so this is way more accessible now. And we're up top. Okay, perfect. And then in the future, just like the ironworks, if we ever need to separate and sort these out for whatever reason, if we want to further process any of these or just send them to a different location, we can merge these in the back and send them out into wherever location we need to. Alright, I am actually super proud of where we are. Concrete is done being reworked, iron is done being reworked, and we're still sipping our cup of coffee. So that means we need to set up power and go back to reworking our copper setup. Alright, so now that we have all of our smelters working away for our copper, we can have them all go into a merger. This merger right here is then going to send everything out and go upstairs, similar to how we have pretty much everything else set up. Alright, perfect. And so the way that this ended up working out, we can have most of this closed off. Just need a few areas for power, and we have both of these sides open up so we can enter from 2 locations, which is nice. And this is a small and sweet little factory. It's just going to be for our copper ingots, which is not nearly as big of an operation as our iron ingots over there. And honestly, I think this is perfectly fine. Probably better that it is under engineered than over engineered like our iron works. Let's set up a ladder on the front so we can get to the roof, and we can finalize our setup with a few of these storage containers. And the coolest part about building this and having so much extra room on the roof compared to over there is that we have plenty of room for our double jump setup. And this is the final goodbye to our hub. We're going to be moving this and all of that foundation work, as that's no longer going to be where our base is. Like I mentioned, I think our base is going to be right here. It kind of makes sense because all these ramps and all these buildings are kind of feeding directly into the center here. I do wish we could do something about this gas, but until then, we kind of are just going to be dealing with it. Wow, what a journey it has been. We first started out in this episode with our brand new facility for all of our biomass. This is going to be for all of our leaves and wood, and it worked for having a really good sustainable amount of energy. But after we took another break from our factory, we experienced hydropower in combination with coal for the first time. This took us to a really new level, as that is a huge amount of power that we pretty much never have to worry about again. And then we have the factories. These factories put a huge damper on our mood and our progress for quite some time. I think it was about 3 or 4 full play sessions. But honestly, we got to a point where I'm mostly happy. We have a full iron facility, as you can see, ready to go. And on top of that, we were able to refactor and reorganize all of our concrete, so we can take on more production or just have it go as it is now. That's super exciting because I plan on increasing production on all of our facilities, if not now, then in the near future. Speaking of our near future, we have copper, which is going to be super important going forward. And as you can see, we have a full setup here. Now, all of these have really strong setups with full storage, production, and rooftop access. Now, I told you the final building is going to be really cool, and I put it together so hopefully you approve of it. I think it looks awesome, and we can finally introduce our final building. This is the shell of our new hub. So this is going to be our full production facility. We're going to have all of our feeder factories sent directly here, go through the bottom floor where it'll continue to be processed, and then on the second floor we're going to have a full manufacture floor where everything gets turned into its final product. And then we'll eventually dump it off and ship it to our final storage facility that is yet to be made. All this sounds like a pipe dream, but honestly, at the beginning of this episode, I never thought we would have made it this far because we were in such disarray after trying to refactor our original factory. Compared to when we first started out, this is so much better, so much more complete, and honestly, it looks so much more epic than ever before. So far, I'm really happy with it. We were able to connect everything with our industrial catwalks, and we have plenty of room in case we want to set up a new trucking facility. If that is not a hint, I really don't know what is. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope that you also have your faith renewed in me, because I lost it for a little bit there myself. I think we're definitely getting off on a much better foot, and I'm excited to get into steel in the next episode. So that is going to be it for our coal-powered episode, and also our refactoring of our factory. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all very soon.